Cheers, Rockets fans. Welcome to The Locker Line, an exclusive podcast from the home of the Rockets.
Whoa!
Sports Talk 790.
Rockets!
The Locker Line is proudly served to you by Carbox Clutch City Lager.
It is good!
Oh, yeah? Red Nation, get ready. Get ready. The Lager Line starts now.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome back to another new episode of The Lager Line, again served to you courtesy of Clutch City Lager of Carbox Brewing. I'm Ben Dubose, your host, editor of USA Today's Rockets Wire, and contributor to Sports Talk 790, official flagship radio station of your Houston Rockets. I'm joined again by Paulo Alves, our co-host and producer out of Portugal. You can follow him on Twitter/X at Paulo Alves NBA, me at Ben Dubose. We're in the last few days of August, which means we have officially entered the dead period of the NBA calendar. The Olympics, the schedule release, those have come and gone. We've got episodes in our archives on that. Also, the unofficial Jalen Green-led team minicamp, that came and went as well. And yet we're still about a month away from when training camps for the new season will actually open in late September. So here in the pod, this is the time of year that we typically do some outside-of-the-box things. It wasn't the case a year ago because, unfortunately, it was marred by the off-court circumstances involving Kevin Porter Jr. But this year, hopefully, things will be a lot quieter, so we'll have some more fun things on the pod here over the coming weeks. I will say we do have some interviews lined up, both to help preview training camp, as well as to get you some behind-the-scenes intel on your favorite personalities within Rockets media. So be on the lookout for those in September. But for today, we've got a special fan episode where we're going to be drafting teams that are comprised exclusively of Rockets players and coaches throughout their history with this franchise. The idea is, again, to have some fun during this dead period and mainly to highlight some of the great players and coaches that this franchise has had, both past and present, over its 50-plus years in Houston. So Paulo is the man who put this together. Again, this pod is not just us. We've got a 5-person panel, well, 5, including myself and Paulo. So we've got some new gen, some old gen. It's a good cross-section Paulo put together. He's also put together the draft itself, the format, the randomizing. Paulo is basically the lead. I'm just making the introductory comments. And now, Paulo, I'm going to turn things over to you. Why don't you take the wheel and explain what we're going to be doing tonight?
Yeah, this time Ben's one of the guests on the shift. I'm just joking. So we're doing. If you guys remember back when we used to do spaces, we used to do a lot of themed draft episodes. And what we're doing today is we're drafting a team, so a full rotation, 10 players, starting 5 plus a bench 5 plus 2 coaches, so 12 rounds of draft. Obviously, positions are flexible. You can draft whoever you want. But what you have to do is you draft a player for one of their, you have to name one of their seasons as a Rocket, and that is the guide of what the player looks like. So there's obviously players where earlier in their careers they couldn't shoot, and then later on they learned how to shoot, so you can get perhaps a more athletic version of them that can't shoot or something else. And it's mostly to prevent any confusion as to, a lot of players came to you're not getting, if you draft Dikembe Mutombo, you're not going to get prime Mutombo, you're going to get what he was with the Rockets, which was, 37-year-old Mutombo or something like that. So that's the first thing. You can draft the coaches in whatever round you'd like. So if you think drafting a certain head coach is, more important than your 8th or your 3rd bench player or 8th total player, then you can draft them earlier on. Other than that, you were going to have 60 seconds per person to make the picks. And, without further ado, I'll just let
and
the guys themselves.
One more qualification that I want to throw in there. We are requiring that everyone draft at least one player from the 2020s era Rockets, starting with the 2020 to 21 season, which is the beginning of this rebuild post James Harden trade. So to ensure current representation, and that also plays into the whole dynamic of being able to pick a peak season, we want to talk about this franchise and the highs and lows. Well, today we're having fun, so we're talking about the highs, but we know who has been, in terms of longevity, the best players throughout the history of this franchise. That's well chronicled. However, there are some guys that haven't necessarily done it over a longer period, but did have some very high highs in Houston. Dwight Howard is a good example. 2014, maybe part of 2015, had about a year and a half that he was a very, very good borderline elite player with the Rockets. I'm pretty confident he'll be drafted today. And in more recent times, look, Alperen Şengün played at a near all-star level last year. Now, I know it's only one season, so he's not yet, on the Rockets Mount Rushmore yet. But for purposes of what we're doing today, will Şengün get picked? Yeah, I think he will, and we want him to be recognized. So in the spirit of that, we are requiring that everybody pick at least one rep from the current era Rockets. Sorry for interjecting, Paolo. I just wanted to explain that side to it. Now you can get back to, I guess, introducing our other three panelists.
Yeah, for sure. Also, just one more thing, since you were mentioning it, I think, or I will be randomizing the order, but you're going to have to trust me on what the order is. There's been some podcast negotiations. I can assure you that I have not rigged the order. I haven't even generated it yet, but yeah, just gonna...
Patrick Ewing, frozen envelope. I see how this is.
Exactly. So without further ado, we're joined by, three people that you 100% know from Rockets Twitter, if not from their own podcasts or guesting on other podcasts. I'll start with Andrew Sukup.
Hi, everyone. It's Andrew Sukup here. Sukup TX on Twitter. Nice to be here, Paolo. Thanks for the invite. Looking forward to it.
Thanks for calling it Twitter and not X.
It's always Twitter. It's never X.
Yes.
Yeah, so Andrew was actually in past drafts with us. He's, he was really fun to have on, other times. So I'm sure he won't be any different this time. We're also joined by, the hosts of the Brad and Will show. I guess I'll go Will first. Will, introduce yourself, even though it's not really necessary. I think everybody knows you.
Yeah, y'all can catch me on Twitter at Bias Houston. My name is Will. I'm the better half of the Brad and Will show. No, I'll pass it with you. I think that's really it.
And so we have Will. We also have Brad. Brad, go ahead.
Yeah. As always, yes, it's your boy Brado. Catch me on Twitter, Instagram, Brado NBA. Of course, got the podcast with Will, and we're in the Houston live room as well, live watching Rockets games if you ever want to catch those. So yeah.
All right, let's randomize the order. All right,
drum roll.
It's gonna look rigged. I promise you it isn't. Pick one's me.
Of course it is.
Pick one's me. Pick two's Will. Pick three's Andrew. Pick four's Brad. And pick five's Ben.
Okay. And so that'll be odd rounds. Even rounds will be the reverse.
Yeah, so we're doing snakes. So I guess I'll just start the timer. I mean, I am on the clock to start, and I think it's the most obvious pick in the world, but I'll start the timer anyways. All right, the timer's on. I am on the clock, and with the first pick, I am going to pick Christian Wood. I'm joking.
I think we need to hold him to it.
Listen, you gotta remember, I edit the podcast, so I can cut. I'm gonna end up with a team of like Hakeem, James Harden team. Everybody's gonna be on my team. Now I'm picking Hakeem, obviously. I don't think the pick demands much clarification. The best player in franchise history. I think you could argue that since there's so many great centers, that perhaps you could find better value elsewhere. But I still gotta go with Hakeem.
Yeah, I think people would check out of this podcast if Hakeem wasn't the first pick. So you sort of boxed yourself in on that.
Yeah. So I still have 5 seconds left, but let's just, Will, you're on the clock. Your minutes up.
I think it's a good thing y'all didn't give me pick one then, because I was going to take this guy number one no matter what. Go ahead and give me James Harden, man. Go ahead and give me my favorite player of all time, man. We're going to take James.
2018 or 2019, though?
I'm taking 2019.
Okay, there we go. Unguardable tour. And Paolo, I'm assuming you're going to take 94 Defensive Player of the Year, Hakeem.
Listen, it was so obvious that it's Hakeem that I didn't even look up the seasons. But yeah.
Defensive Player of the Year. I think it's one of the only times somebody's won both DPOY and MVP and NBA Finals MVP in the same year. So yeah, it's got to be that one.
Yeah.
He's the only time it's ever happened.
Is it? Wow. I knew it was one of the only. Shoot, that's awesome.
Probably the greatest season ever.
All right. So on that note, let's segue to Andrew.
So yeah, actually, I think the third pick may be the first real pick.
Yeah.
The first two are clearly obvious, but now once you get into number 3, there's several choices that you could debate. But I'm going to go with 2006-07 Tracy McGrady. I'm assuming we're working this under today's more open court rules, and having this perhaps the second best perimeter creator in Rockets history.
And
lead our audience.
And you can play stylistically however you want. So yeah, it'd be today's rules, but also because we have so much flexibility with coaching, then yeah, you can sort of tweak it to whatever you think is best.
Right. Yeah. So T-Mac, 25 points, 6.5 assists, 5 rebounds, 1.3 steals, played 71 games. It really was his peak healthy season in Houston. And the year they really could have gone far in the playoffs, except if it weren't for the Carlos Boozer and the ridiculous Utah Jazz.
Yeah.
So Pete T-Mac is my first choice.
Yeah, I'll keep this quick. I'll let Ben pick one of these centers. The Rockets have so many centers to choose. And I'll just pick 2017-18 Chris Paul.
I figured that was coming.
You took him what? Oh, I didn't think he was going to get back to me, but I think he was going to go this Sunday.
Early. The Rockets have so many centers. I'll get one right after.
Oh, that was smart. That was really smart because you're doing the snake. That was smart.
Once your dreams off the board.
Yeah, that was smart.
And I'm looking at the stats. Chris Paul, is second all time in box score plus minus behind only James Harden in Rockets history. That's how good that season was. So yeah, that I was hoping it would make it to me. That would have made my picks a lot easier.
Because they take both of them. Yeah, I won't come off the bench.
So mine is actually going to be a little bit of a curveball because I think a lot of Rockets fans do not remember this guy as fondly as they should. But I'm going to take 96-97 Charles Barkley, who was still a dynamic player at that point in his career. And he was the best player on a Rockets team that went 6 games. The Western Conference Finals was, if Clyde Drexler makes his shot, they go to Game 7 in Utah, just holds it, for the buzzer. Maybe they win in overtime. I mean, they pushed a very good Utah team. They actually had Utah on the brink in the next year's playoffs as well until Barkley's triceps went out. But that first year in Houston, he was an all-star. He averaged 19 points, almost 14 rebounds per game. He was even capable of hitting some threes, shot about 4 per game. So he did provide some stretch to him. I would go with Chuck, who low-key was the best Rockets player on that 97 team, which is one of the best in franchise history. Even though Hakeem got most of the accolades, he had started to fade a little bit. And again, that was a Barkley-led team that got over the hump of the Seattle Supersonics that the Rockets, even with Hakeem and Clyde the year before, could not get over. In fact, they got swept by the Sonics. So I'll go with Barkley for my first pick. And then to start round 2, because I'm going to be making back-to-back, this is really tough. Going back and forth, I'm going to have to go Moses Malone because he's one of only 3 MVPs along with Hakeem and Harden in franchise history, and that'd be 82, his last season in Houston before he moved on. So back then, obviously, it's a different era, but he was just a machine, averaged, let's look at this, over 31 points and almost 15 rebounds per game, shot 52% from the field. It's a different era, but he was a beast on the low block. You can make arguments for Dwight Howard and Yao Ming, but Moses is the better player. Obviously, he was not a three-point shooter at all, but if your front court partner, in this case, Charles Barkley, does have a little bit of a jump shot to him, then I think you can get around that. And I think with Moses and Charles, you would dominate the boards. So I'll go 82 Moses Malone to start off round 2, and now it's back to Brad.
And I'll keep it quick with this one as well. Again, the Rockets are deepest center. I could go Ralph Sampson here, but we're going to go with the Great Wall of China. 06-07, he was putting up 25, pretty much 10 rebounds, 2 blocks a game. That was when he was getting his groove. His brother couldn't stay healthy. But yeah, that's the Yao Ming I'm going with.
All right, Andrew, you're up.
All right. Great choices there. And left me with the 1984-85 year 2 Ralph Sampson.
Ooh. Pre-injury.
Peak Ralph Sampson in the MVP ballot, all-star, second team All-NBA, 22 points, 10.5 rebounds on over 50% shooting and tremendous defense. The absolute best of Ralph Sampson before his career tragically got cut short. And with him, I don't know if he's going to be my power forward or my center, but pairing him with T-Mac, I think is going to be dynamic.
It's on me, right?
Yes.
Y'all took all the big, so I'm gonna go ahead and just make. I was hoping Chris Paul would somehow find his way back to me. I was thinking that Brad wasn't gonna take.
Wait, you can say all the bigs. There's still an all-time great big.
Oh yeah, C Wood's out there, man. Come on.
No, that's not what I meant, but also.
Oh, okay.
I told myself I was gonna make a "Why does Brad hate Shingun" joke, and I forgot to do it. But yeah. I was hoping Chris Paul would get back to me, and Brad took him fourth. So, I'll take Clyde, man. I'm gonna take what year did I pull up for this? His first year in Houston, 1994, 1995.
Yeah, championship.
I'm gonna go ahead and bump Harden to the one. He kind of pretty much played the point guard for us,
Right.
Yeah. Sport anyway. So I'm gonna bump Harden to the one and play Clyde at the two, or I might move to the three depending on what I get later on in the draft. But right now, one Harden, two Clyde. We're gonna rock out with that dynamic backcourt.
And now we're to Paolo for two.
Yeah, which brings it back to me, and I actually don't have a plan right here. I have two picks, because I was really expecting one of the guards to make it back, but none of them did, and so now I gotta pick if I want to, the guy I was talking about, I was talking about Elvin Hayes, but I can't play two bigs. It's against my nature. You guys know I value spacing above all. So it's really tough, and my love for 3-and-D wings is kind of starting to shine through here. But I can't. I mean, I could play Hakeem plus. I could play Hakeem plus a bunch of shooters, but we need a little bit more star power to compete with, in an all-time great, in a draft of all-time greats. So just to get it out of the way, since my time's almost up, I have to take him, and so I will take the season Russell Westbrook had here.
Oh,
That's such an anti-follow pick.
I know.
Yeah, but listen. I'm gonna convince him to play, that January month before COVID hit. So hopefully he can stick to that, and then let me reset the clock. And then after that, I need some spacing. And I know this guy wasn't necessarily known for his spacing. But for the seasons that he was here, or the season that I'm going to pick, he was actually a very good shooter and pretty decent volume. So it might be disrespectful to Calvin Murphy, but I need the spacing. So I'm going to take 2010, 2011 Kevin Martin.
Oh, wow. That is incredibly high for Kevin Martin.
Yeah.
Wow, Kevin Martin.
So this is a season where, I didn't watch back then, but I'm looking at these stats, and I'm seeing 24 points a game.
He was a stat.
He was tough. Yeah.
He was a scorer. He was a stat merchant.
He was more
literally
good into the stat sheet looked. Back at your point.
Hello, he was the guy on the team, so the stats was low. He was solid.
No, look, the efficiency is good. He's shooting 38% from three on 6 attempts.
No, he was.
He was a free throw merchant before.
Daryl Morey brought him in here to get teams into early free throw trouble, so Yao would rack up free throws.
Yeah, that's fair. I need the shooting, and six attempts a game is pretty much as good as you're gonna get. Listen, the guys we have available after this, I think you go from near star to pretty clearly role player if you want to get shooting after Kevin Martin. So I have to do it.
Okay. All right. Will's up next.
Well, I actually think I played it. It wasn't on purpose, but I played it really smart taking Clyde and not going big there because I would have gave Paolo Clyde. So I'm actually really glad I went that decision. That was not intentional. I had to take Elvin Hayes here. And I went and looked up his stats, and this is honestly insane. I've never looked at these before. 28.4 points, 17 rebounds in his rookie season. I want that, when people see I don't know if we're going to vote on who has the best team, but I want it on record that my starting center played 28 and 17 as a rookie. So,
yeah, that's pretty freaking insane, dude.
But yeah, I'm gonna go Elvin Hayes there.
Which means we have Andrew on the clock.
All right, so I'm going to go with 2008-9 Shane Battier.
Yeah, it's not Kevin Martin, that was him.
38% three-point shooter, fourth in DPOY balloting, peak Shane Battier. I'm probably gonna shift T-Mac to point guard and have Battier and Sampson up front. So, guy doesn't get a lot of rep, talk about his time as a Rocket anymore, but he was definitely a top 10 all-time Rocket.
All right, on to Brad again.
All right, I actually like this pick a lot. In fact, Andrew, what year did you use for Shane Battier again?
08-09?
Where he's going with
Yes,
this.
I'll pick a Houston Rocket. I'll pick a Houston Rocket from that same season. Y'all know where I'm going. Yeah, we're going with Mr. Meta World Peace, Ron Artest, second team all.
Yeah.
He was the fifth in the deep point race that year. He was sniping from 3 on 5, over 5 attempts a game, hit 39.9%. And the brother is crazy. I like that. So yeah.
Hey, Brad, why do you hate Operation Shingo, Brad?
Hey, I got Yao Ming, man. And maybe off the bench. Maybe off the bench.
All right, the timer is reset again. That's Ben or back to back.
Yeah, it's me. I'm back to back. This is tough because I've got to go smaller because I've got Barkley and Malone in the front court. Of course, you're going to add depth, but it's tricky because the Rockets are such a team historically that's tilted towards the big men. This was a spot. I've done one of these before and actually snuck in Russell Westbrook in a mid-round. Y'all didn't let me sneak in the 1 year of Russ here. It's a little trickier. I'm going to take Ty Lawson. No, I'm kidding. That was an abomination, whatever that was. I'm going to have to take Calvin Murphy with one of these just because he's a Hall of Famer. And it's tricky because they didn't have a three-point line for much of his career, and it was a very different game back then. But a guy who, I'll pick 78 when he averaged over 26 points a game and was one of the smaller guys in the league. I'm pretty confident that that we could work him into today's game and he would be able to score and space the floor. So I'll take the 26 points a game Calvin Murphy and hope that he will figure it out going into whatever the modern NBA is. So I'll take Calvin as a legacy pick. Really like the Ron Artest because I was thinking about that myself. Let me think. This one is tough.
It has to be Christian Wood here.
I'm going to take Vernon Maxwell. He was a dynamic defensive player. You put him with Barkley and Malone, and you've got a lot of defensive culture there. You can handle the ball a little bit too. I'll go with the version of Max in 94 when they won their first title because actually averaged over 5 assists per game too. So even though they were a pure point guard between Murphy and Max, you have at least some skills there. So I'll take Max as, or actually, you know what? Let me go back. I'll take 92 Max, who shot over 34% from three. Didn't realize that he actually shot just below 30% from three during the championship year. So yeah, I'll take Maxwell, but the 92 version.
Fun fact: he led the league in 3-point shooting that year. 3-pointers made, so that's a good choice. Don't know how I knew that, but
yeah, they really ran. I was like, how the hell?
It's a word to know that was going to be you.
That was my pick, man. That's how I knew. But it's okay. It's okay. I'll swerve to another shooting guard that Will is going to be familiar with. It's his time. We'll go with 6-man, Mr. Eric Gordon, man.
I almost did.
Yeah, I didn't want to, but there's nothing wrong with Eric Gordon here. So
2017 6-man.
I've got to see. The next year he was second in the race. He averaged more points. Whatever year he shot better from three. Yeah, we'll just do the 6-man year. So 2016-17.
Which means it has gone all the way back to Andrew.
Okay, so I also need a guard. So I'm going to take, it feels like a bit of a cheat, but I'm going to take 1992-93 Kenny Smith, who hit 43.8% of his three-pointers that year. And the reason for that is because the NBA had pulled in the three-point line.
Oh, yeah.
About 1.5 feet for those 2 years, and it jacked up everyone's three-point shooting. But I'm going to assume that still counts. Take 44% three-point shooting Kenny Smith with this pick.
All right, I'm not loving the huge amount of guards that are falling to me, but go ahead, Will.
I'm going to take someone that I'm like 90% sure Paulo wanted. I don't know if he's going to take him here. I'm going to go ahead and get that feet where, that would be a full season. It was half a season of Robert Covington.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab him. I don't know just yet if I'm going to play. I'm going to list him at the 3, but I might move him down to the 4 depending upon how everything else with the draft shakes out. But yeah, I thought he was like super duper underrated. When we had him on the roster, he was somebody who I wanted us to grab out of Philadelphia. before he was obviously in Minnesota. I wanted us to grab him like way like longer before he was ever a Rocket. So when he was finally here, I was really excited about that. I thought he, like I said, was really good. I forgot if it was, I think it was against the Mavericks in the bubble when he had that little putback layup.
Yep.
Sent the game to OT. Yeah. So like stuff like that. And then when we traded him, that was kind of when I knew that it was over. When we just kind of traded him, I believe that was the kind of trade that got us Christian Wood in a sense. But
Yeah.
that was when I knew I'm like, all right, we're probably finna head towards some more of a rebuild. Now that he's gone. So yeah, I'm gonna take Robert Covington for a 3-and-D wing, get some defense, get some shooting in my lineup. And yeah, that's where I'm at.
He was definitely in the short list. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was going to say really quickly, he was going to be my pick. You know, I didn't realize this. He shot 31.5% from 3 in that short season. So I didn't want that to be held against me. But he was still,
It definitely did not seem like that, but
yeah, I won't be with our test.
you made the right pick.
Yeah, so I'm on the clock now, and I actually thought you were going to steal the guy that I'm about to pick. I don't know how he fell this far, and I don't know how other 3-and-D wings, not other 3-and-D wings, came before him, but let me just double check that I'm not mistaking he was a really good shooter. He was later in his career, but let me just double check so I don't make a mistake. Yeah, he was already a really good shooter in Houston. So I'm going to take 94-95 Robert Horry with my next pick.
There you go. Robert Horry, 95, the original stretch 4. Yeah.
That was exactly going to be my pick.
Yeah, that's what I was going to take next. I was hoping Paulo didn't take him.
Which means I have another pick, and I guess he'd be undersized, but for today's game, maybe he isn't. I could slide Kmart to the 4, and I could take one of these guards. I could even play Westbrook as a 2.
Play Westbrook as a 5.
Yeah, you could play it. Who am I going with between these two guys? I'm gonna have to split them up just because I think it's too good. I think it's too good value to not, pick one of them. I'm just trying to figure out who it's going to be. Maybe let me double check. I still have time. Yeah, I do. All right. Between these two guys, one was an all-star, the other one was, but I gotta go. This is not gonna be a popular pick, but one's a better shooter than the other, and one's more off-ball than the other. So I'm gonna make another unpopular pick just because I think most people would agree that the other one's the better player. I'm gonna take Cuttino Mobley.
Okay,
good pick.
All right, well, now you got to tell us who the other choice was.
Steve Francis.
Oh, Francis was a better in a vacuum, but Mobley can fit into more like team constructs.
Yeah, that's why I took it.
Yeah,
and it's gonna be playing next to Westbrook, so I think he makes more sense.
All right, Will, you're up.
I'm gonna roll the dice that the guy who I was gonna take here. I think there's a matter of fact, let me look at who y'all have. I think there's a good chance he'll fall to me. Let's see. Yeah, because Brad's draft. Okay, I think I'm gonna go ahead and start working on my bench. I am gonna take Steve Francis here. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and pick because there's 0 chance he makes it back to me again. He'll be my backup 1, and I'm gonna hope that the guy I want will still be there my time around. But yeah, I'm gonna pick up Steve Francis here.
All right, nice pick. I'm gonna continue with the strategy of T-Mac is my offensive engine, and I'm building a team around him. And since Paulo took the original stretch 4, I'm going to take maybe the best stretch 4 season for anyone in Rockets history. 2016, 2017, Ryan Anderson.
Oh, there you go.
It's good.
40+%, 6'10" power.
Are you getting home Ryan Anderson or road Ryan Anderson?
His first year, it didn't matter. It was the second year where that really came out. He was just a straight up assassin that first year in Houston. So that's the guy. Now, once the rules, Ben said you pick 1 year, that became a clear pick.
Definitely someone who if you just read the name because of the contract and because of what happened afterwards, I think a lot of people will underrate the fact that he had that season. That being said, Brad, your clock's up.
Man, I got to take the first team All NBA defender, Scottie Pippen. He was first team. I ain't gonna lie, he was first.
99, Scottie Pippen. Wow.
He was first team All Defense. I didn't know this. I had to look it up.
A lot of that was rep, but yeah, he was still a good.
It was rep. We'll take him. We'll take him. He's a good fit.
You're gonna get booed.
It's okay. We got Chris Paul, Gordon, Pippen, Artest, and Young.
Yeah,
it's a good defense right there. So
it is.
That's solid defense, yo.
I'll stick with that.
That's tough.
Which means, Ben, you're up back-to-back.
Yeah, I'm up for 2. So this is interesting. I still want more shooting. Really wish. Can I pick March 2024 Jalen Green? Pick it for like one specific month. That would be.
What about second half of the rookie season, Jalen Green?
That'd be a little bit. No, I'm still picking second half. People don't realize, like Jalen this past year, you split his year in 2. The second half of last season, basically the last 40 games, is identical stats to Anthony Edwards in year 2. Now, obviously, that's Jalen year 3. I understand that, but the point is he's not that far off. And so, like, there's peaks and valleys. There's more than you would like, but it's not just March. Like the second half of last season. So hopefully, it takes some framing, but you can sort of contextualize it as a lot of his early season struggles being, new teammates, new coaching staff, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to go very new age. I need more shooting. I need more ball handling. I'm going to take 2024 Fred VanVleet. Very good shooter, very good defender. One of the better under the radar point guards in franchise history. Like I looked at guys, like second year Sam Cassell. I know Kenny got picked. Andrew sort of cheated the rules with that one a little bit, but we'll let it slide. But Fred, even in just 1 year, Fred last year shoots at a very high level, can space the floor. And again, the way I sort of put that team together, sort of forced into it because Barkley and Moses were just BPA. But yeah, I need some more shooting around them. So that's going to be my pick. And then let's see, that'll end round 5. And then to start round 6, so I've got Fred, I've got Maxwell, I've got, who am I forgetting my third pick? Oh, Calvin Murphy, of course. So I'm going to be popular with the dorks on NBA Twitter, and I'm going to take 2018 Trevor Ariza, who could shoot, but could also guard a lot of different positions at a high level. I thought about PJ Tucker, but I think Ariza has even more, like versatility. And so I got guys like Calvin that are really small. I got some bigs that are more traditional. So I'm going to say Trevor with his length, guard multiple positions. I'll go 2018 Ariza. Not going to let him shoot if it's game 7, but other than that,
I was making a joke. I was making a big game 7 Ariza.
All right. So Brad, we're back to you.
Ben, you did a good job of taking both of my picks. So I'm not going to waste too much time talking right now. I'm actually going to be thinking about who I'm going to take. But worst come to worst, I have a backup option.
Ben, are you going to play Fred at the 2?
I'm not sure yet. That is a good question.
Yeah, let me know when I get to like 20 seconds. I'll make a desperate pick. But yeah, Ben did a good job.
Yeah, I wanted.
You would say Jalen Green.
Ooh, no, I'm sorry. That's my guy.
I wanted to take.
Do guys get a premium? Like, since we have to take a guy from post 2020, do those guys eventually, come at a premium? Because there's few of them that were actually good.
That's true. That's a good point. I so wanted to pick PJ, by the way, because I feel like, Rockets fans have more of an attachment to PJ than they do to Trevor. But it's just, I was like, man, for the way I put this together, like, PJ's 4 or 5.
The defensive versatility.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Right, Brad, time's up.
I'm between 2 people. And you know what? We're going to go with, he's the better player of the 2. I'll stop going fit. But we're going to go with Men Thompson. I'm sorry, Will.
Oh, shoot. They're all.
Who had the Man Thompson going ahead of literally everybody, ahead of Alperen Sengun?
Look, my team, I want to have the best defensive team. I think I already.
He did that on purpose, y'all. He knew I wanted him in.
Where are you gonna take him next pick? Okay, so it's fair. Andrew.
So I only have one question based on that last pick, Brad. Why do you hate the guy I'm going to pick, Alperen Sengun?
Oh,
Yeah, that's a good question.
Men Thompson.
He slide one more than me.
No, it wasn't going any further. I need a bit more off scoring, a little more offense. So I'm taking the Turkish Wonder and my number 1 2020s pick, LP.
I'm going to be hearing about this. If Paulo posts this board and order the
Please do it, Paulo. Please.
I'm going to be hearing about it.
That's the title of the pod.
He took a
Brad
over Shingle. Please, I was really hoping Shingle would slide one more. I was going to take him here.
Yeah,
So that's why he did. That's why he didn't. I was pretty confident he wouldn't last for my next pick.
He was. I just knew for sure Brad was going to take him. I won't spoil it because maybe is the guy was he the other guy you were debating, Brad?
For the sake of the podcast, I'll say yeah. It was.
Just protecting the image out there.
I'm going to take, like I said, in the interest, because I'm also pretty sure the guy that I want, I don't think Paulo's going to take him. So in the interest of continuing to beef up my team, I'm going to take 2013-2014 Dwight Howard.
That's a good pick. Real good pick.
Yeah, he was finished 8th in DPOY. He was an all-star this year. I think he made All-NBA second team. So, yeah, I'm going to take Dwight Howard. He's going to come off my bench. And so long as Paulo don't take the guy who I really wanted here, I think I'll be good. Which I don't think he's going to.
Yeah, you could have probably let White slide. It's just I find it really hard to draft the second serve because if we're talking playoffs, the team's gonna play 40 minutes a night, and so it's tough to justify drafting another all-star because you're not gonna get that much value out of him. So I don't know who you're scared that I might take, but I don't think this guy's gonna slide until my next pick, and I have to have him. One of my picks is gonna be Tariq.
Okay.
That wasn't who I was thinking, but
I was going to take him next.
We'll say 2023 so that he's healthy.
Yeah. I guess we're assuming that even though he was injured, he played the full season.
Oh, yeah. So let's say 2024. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, because we're not doing the injury hypotheticals. So, yeah.
Yeah, so he's actually probably going to start for me, and I'm probably moving Kmart to the 2 and Mobley to the 6-man position, which means I have 2 3-and-D wings. Do I want to go for a third one? Or what about offensive options? I got a fair amount of offense between Westbrook, Mobley, and Mark. Yeah, I got a fair amount of offense. I can go defensive oriented here. I guess I'll go. Listen, I'm not going to pretend that I know what this guy's style of play was back in the day, but I'm going to look at the stats, and I'm seeing 9 assists a game with only 2.6 turnovers, and I'm going to assume that he played more of a point guard style, and so I'm going to take some more conservative ball handler, very low turnover numbers, and I'm going to take John Lucas, the player, in 77-78. He had 12 points per game, 9.4 assists per game.
Was he with the Rockets then? I think he was.
He was.
Okay.
It's his second season. It's just, how can you argue against a near 4 assists to turnover ratio? So that's what I'm taking.
John Lucas brought the ball up the court and passed it to Malone. Smart guy.
Hey, can I have him bring the ball up the court and pass it to Akeem? That works for me.
That works too.
All right. I was really considering taking this guy when I took Francis, but I'm like, I think I can chance it. I'm going to stop his slide now. I'm going to take PJ Tucker, and I am going to start him at my 4. He was the guy I had penciled in as my starting 4, but I figured I could chance it a little bit and he would still be there. So I beefed up my bench a little bit before I went and got him. There was another guy who I thought about taking because I had a feeling that maybe I could have. I'm just curious. Y'all can be honest. Would anybody have took PJ Tucker?
He was.
I might have. I might have. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't think he would last. So, but there's another guy out there that might get to me, but I don't know. I think I had a little bit more confidence that I could maybe slide PJ if I took this guy now, but I want him to be my starting power forward, so I got to kind of end this slide now. So, yeah, give me PJ. And I looked it up. In 2018, 2019, he shot 37% on 4 attempts a game. I'm sorry. Yeah. On 5 attempts per game, not 4. 5 attempts per game. Started all 82 games. We know what he did defensively. So, yeah, I think I have a nice, offensive and defensive tandem for my starting 5.
That's a good pick, Will. He was very high on my list. So I'm going to go with the other one I was debating with. 1996-97, Mario Ellie. 42% on 4 3-point attempts per game. 6th in DPOY voting that year. He's going to be a great, one of the original 3-and-D wings, Mario Ellie.
Very good pick. Next, Brad, you're on the clock again.
That's a really good pick. Will, Paula, can y'all remind me of your last 2 picks, please?
So I took Tyrese and John Lucas. Will took PJ, and Andrew took Mario Ellie.
Good picks, everybody. PJ Will, I was taking him for sure.
You don't take PJ here? Okay, I'm glad I took him there. Yeah, I would have been mad if I didn't get him.
Not even mad at you. But I'll stick with my defensive mold. It is kind of the 3-and-D still. It's going to be a guard. Maybe early form. Actually, it's actually hella early.
You taking what I think you taking?
Oh no, I know who he's going.
The crazy guy. Who do you think I'm taking?
I'm thinking Pat there.
We'll say it first.
We'll go it. We'll do it. Look, Patrick Beverly.
Oh, man, I was about to do it. God damn.
Ben, you were going to take him?
I was going to do it. Yeah. I was going to.
Good thing I pulled the trigger earlier. So,
Damn.
he picked the season. He shot 38% from
Yeah, the last one at decent volume. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know what defensive team he made that year. Double check. Probably second team, I'd assume.
Yeah, defensive
First
first team. Yeah, and eighth and defensive.
So we have a few defensive first teamers on this Rockets team I have.
Yeah, that's a real good one. That was one I was hoping was going to make it back to me. Although I guess, yeah, I've already got like a little bit of, guys with some dog in them, if you will, with Fred and Calvin. So and Maxwell too. So maybe I'm sort of overloaded on that type of player. So I'm going to go back a little further, and I'm going to take, this was in sort of those intermediate years between McGrady and Yao, that era. Crazy that Yao hasn't been picked yet, but I know a lot of that's just because of the way the draft is, and there's so many bigs within the Rockets.
Yao?
No?
I took Yao.
Yeah, Yao's pick 6,
Got her-
7,
got her-
8, 7.
It was round 2.
Oh, yeah, shoot, I missed that. Okay, sorry. Yeah, brain fart on my part. No, I do have it in the notes. I was like, yeah, somehow I had a typo, so it didn't search. Okay, so Yao is on the board, off the board. Okay, that makes me feel better. I was like, Jesus, that would be...
Yeah,
Okay.
I was going to be so mad at myself.
Okay, so anyway, between the segue I was trying to make, between the McGrady and Yao eras and the Harden era, I'm going to go with 2011 Kyle Lowry, who was 6th in most improved player voting. He could pass. He was shooting threes at a high level, almost 38% on decent volume, nearly 5 per game. We know what he became later on, but even in Houston, he was still really, really good. And if you recall, in 2012, when Houston traded him, that pick they got from Toronto ended up becoming the centerpiece of the Harden trade. That's how good Kyle Lowry's value was, and we know what he became. So I'm going to say for a team that, is a little front court heavy, I'm going to take Lowry to beef up my backcourt defense, all that kind of stuff. And so that will wrap up, what are we in now? Round 7. And then round 8, this is going to be a little early. I'm going to start the run. But for a team that, Rudy is the best coach in franchise history, but I think his system, number one, it feels like it'd be a waste to put Rudy with anyone other than Hakeem, because where Rudy was truly transcendent was, playing through a dominant low post scoring big and then surrounding him with lots of shooters, the floor spacing. Mike D'Antoni was a great coach, but I don't think he necessarily fits with my roster, which is a little more front court heavy. I'm going to pick Ime Udoka here just because I think, the team that I put together has a lot of dogs. It's a defensive culture kind of team. Barkley's the offensive engine, and even though he wasn't a great defender, he was a great rebounder, which can certainly help your defense. But I think Ime would be a pretty good fit with sort of the Kyle Lowry, Vernon Maxwell, obviously Fred, that type of guy. So even though Ime is not the best coach in franchise history yet, I'm going to pick him because I think he's good for this team.
I like that.
But Brad, you're up.
Yeah. Player. What's the player you just went with then?
Kyle Lowry.
Question, does a coach from the 20s fulfill the requirement for
No.
taking someone from the recent era?
No, you got to have a player.
You have Fred VanVleet, so
Yeah.
whole requirements fill.
I thought Ben had Fred.
No, I do.
Yeah, that's what he doesn't need you, though, to fill it because he has.
Yeah. No, I just want him for fit reasons. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna see it here. I'm probably gonna go with a 3-and-D guy. If you want to give him the 3 label. Actually, I could go with a fan favorite here, but it doesn't really fit the role of the team. You know what? Let me see the roster. All right, okay. No, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it anyway, even though it might not fit my team. He's a little outdated in the new era of basketball. The go to Argentina outside of Modric,
Oh, nice.
We're gonna go with Luis Scola. 18 points a game, 8 boards. He was cooking Pau Gasol in that playoffs. Oh, this is a different year, actually. You know what? No. I'm going to go with the year, because the year he was cooking in the playoffs, that wasn't even his best statistical year. But
It was his best rebounding year. Go with that one, man. And he was getting most improved player votes. Yeah, and he was big in the playoffs. I'd say go with 09.
yeah, I'll go 08, 09. I think those other years are more not stat pad years.
Yeah, because those were bad teams. Yeah. So he just had more touches. Yeah.
I agree, but he was cooking Pau Gasol.
That's a great pick. He was high on my list to go next, Brad. I'm debating two different archetypes for the next player. With Samson and Şengün, I don't have a ton of bulk on defense and rim protection. So either go that way or double down on stretch bigs and go that way. So since you took Scola, I would have loved teaming Scola and Şengün to see the low post offensive mastery between those two guys. But instead, I'm going to go with Otis Thorpe. 1992 Otis Thorpe. He's peak year with the Rockets, dominant defender, dominant rebounder to pair with Ralph and or LP up front.
It's on me, right? I am going to I'm gonna be the bad guy. I know everybody was thinking about taking him. I'm gonna take Jalen Green here.
Oh, there we go.
Go ahead and
March-
take Jalen.
Dude, if you get March Jalen Green, yeah, he's still a
Yeah,
champ.
I just want like that version of him. I don't want, you know what I'm saying, pre-March, just March Jalen Green. So we'll put 2024 Jalen for this one. And I'm looking at it like I got Rocco, I got PJ, Elvin Hayes, the center, Dwight off my bench. I probably need, I do have Steve Francis, but we probably do need somewhat of an offense
Shot creation. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna take Jalen here. And that kind of gives me, I have some names so I'm gonna fill out for the rest of these. I don't think they're gonna get drafted, especially with how y'all are drafted. So I really wanted to admit that was who I wanted, but Brad took him from me. So yeah, I'm gonna take Jalen here.
Yeah. And honestly, like I said it earlier, but dude, if you just split his season in two for like January 15th onward, basically the second half, he averaged like his splits are like 22 points, six rebounds, 4 assists per game, 56% true shooting. Like obviously there's peaks and valleys. There's like the untradeable tour. There's when he almost got benched going into the All-Star break. Then there's the month of March. But just the back half of the year, the last 40 games, like, dude, if he just goes out next year and averages, 22, 6, and 4 on 56% true shooting, I mean, I think we'd be pretty happy with that. Like, that'd be pretty damn good. So I'll take it any day of the week. And I think that's a good bet at this stage. Paolo, you're up for 2.
Yeah, this is tough because I was going to take Jalen if he fell. I've been looking at this and, Westbrook, Kmart, Lucas, Tino Mobley, and I'm thinking that I'm not sure if there's enough backcourt shooting, so I was going to take Jalen. I'm kind of tempted to taking, and it's obviously going to be horrible. I'm not going to do it, but I'm tempted to look at KPJ just because of how good of a shooter he was.
Oh my
On
God.
volume.
No, we're going to boot you from this.
I'm not gonna do it.
Redacted.
I am not gonna do it. I think I have enough, scorers on the team. Otherwise, I don't know how this guy that I'm thinking about has fallen this far. But I'm actually going to talk. But I'm actually not going to go with him. And if he falls the next round, I guess I'll take him then. For scheme versatility, and for another on-ball guy that at least for the year that he has been here, shot volume and was 36% from 3. I'm gonna take 2 current Rockets in Jabari Smith and Dylan Brooks.
I almost want Dylan Brooks over Scola.
Because I'm looking at it this way. I can, if Westbrook for some reason needs spacing, I can run Jabari at the 5 and try to replicate a little bit of what Anthony tried to do. And we have multiple ways of playing. We can run with Akeem as the hub. We can run with Westbrook and the 4 spacing guy. And if I get what I want to get in my next round, we perhaps can run some pick and roll as well. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Dylan Brooks and Jabari, mostly because of the volume. There's other good 3-and-D wings left, but they didn't have the volume from 3 that Dylan Brooks had this year.
All right, Will, you're next.
That's right. It is back on me. I was not anticipating to pick that song. I will use my clock then. I was not anticipating that. Although I think I know who I'm going to take here. But just make sure I'm not forgetting somebody.
It's C. Wood time. Let's go.
So yeah, I got my quota for the current Rockets team. Yeah, I think I'm going to take this guy. Yeah, I'm gonna do. Okay, let me see what year I'm gonna take. I'm gonna take this guy. I'm gonna take Chandler Parsons here,
Oh, that's a good one.
but I don't know what year I'm gonna take him just yet. Oh, there's only really two options here. Dang, he was only here for 3 seasons. Quick.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I thought it was much longer than that.
No, because they let him out of his contract a year early as a favor to, yeah, he had the same agent as Dwight.
It
That's
was,
what it was.
like the white stuff. Yeah, I remember that.
Yep.
Well, he shot. We talked around it so much longer because he turned into a Dallas guy with Mark Cuban.
His
So
career was not that long. I don't know why I thought it was so much
Yeah.
longer.
He had a car accident.
he
right?
blew out his knee
Yeah.
soon after
Yeah.
he signed with Dallas.
That was Memphis. Was it?
And yes,
Bottom line, I'm taking Chandler Parsons here. He shot 39% if I round up on 5 attempts in 2012, 2013. That is the version
Yeah.
I'm going to take.
That was his peak athleticism defensively, too. Yeah.
all right. I guess I'm up.
Yes.
So with my team, I've been filling out around T-Mac as my offensive engine. I think I need another playmaker here, someone who can also run some pick and roll with Ralph and Şengün. So this guy's Rockets career was pretty short, but very high profile, and go with Jeremy Lin. Not the most efficient guy, but he could fill it up. He could play make for himself and for others. So his second year, 2013, 2014.
2014, the playoff team. Yeah.
Man, look, okay, all right. I'm gonna pick based on. Let me see who Ben's picked really quick.
I think it's kind of crazy. Well, Brad picked. I think it's kind of crazy the level of centers that are still unpicked. We were seeing
Yeah.
Jeremy Lin get picked, and there's some pretty good guys still to be picked at center.
On an absolute value, picking Jeremy Lin over Clint Capella or Dikembe Mutombo is crazy.
I had Clint written down as my pick, so I'm gonna go with Clint Capella. Let me get the year for
He's a
you.
good one.
Is that the second big you have on your team?
Yes, it is.
You probably want to go 2018 because that's
18, 19 here.
Oh yeah, that's the year he was. Oh yeah. Oh, he had some deep boy votes. 14 boards.
so 2019 was his better like rebounding. 2018 was when he was like most sort of switchable, if you will. So it just depends on you want the athletic version or the beefier version.
Let's go with like 2017, 18 would be.
Yeah, that's what I would do too. When you could switch everything. Yeah,
I'll go
for sure.
He bulked up in order to get that rebounding rate bonus that Tillman put into his contract he signed after the 2018 season.
Wait, Tillman did that? That's the most Tillman. Oh my god.
Yeah, he put in like a $500,000 bonus if Capella reached a certain rate of defensive rebounding percentage the following year.
Yeah, that was a very like early Tillman.
He
Yeah.
knew how to do everything better than it's been done in the NBA before.
Why would you ever encourage a player to do anything other than what the coach is telling him to do or what's the best for the team? Whatever.
All right, so it's back to me for 2, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Timer's on.
So I am going to get, this was a 1-year wonder, but I'm going to tag team Trevor Ariza in the only way that you can, which is with 2018 Luc Van Mute. So Trevor starting, coming off the bench, and Luke being able to defend multiple positions sort of offsets Barkley being a little undersized, if you will. Yeah, so Luke 2018, and then after that, that's a good pick of Capella because I was totally going to pick him. Let me think here.
I was definitely picking Luke and Bob Mute with my next pick, by the way. So
He slipped my mind.
he slipped mine too. I was looking through my list of forwards and I saw him down there.
Yeah, for Will's relief, I think last time I did this, at some point, I picked Sterling Brown's season where he shot.
Oh, yeah, that was hilarious. I was like, what in the living hell?
Listen, shooters were, not too available, and I mean, he was decent for that season. Do you guys not remember? We were pretty shocked when he just left for nothing. We could have traded him for a second round pick and then we let him leave, didn't we?
If we're picking just for a single year, that's not a crazy pick.
And this is not the best value pick, but this is for a role. I want more shooting, especially because I started off getting all those bigs. And with Calvin, there's the question of exactly how his game translates, because three-point line was not nearly as big of a deal. And in fact, it wasn't a thing at all for a portion of his career. I'm also going to take 2018 Gerald Green. I just think that there's a lot of utility to have a guy like that on your bench. Athleticism, can shoot, defensively limited, but hey, we got Ariza, we got Ba Mute, we got Moses Malone inside. So I'm going to take 2018 Gerald Green to start off round 10.
Gerald Green comes off the couch once again.
He's been playing with his dog to stay ready, man.
And I'm sure he's been tearing it up in like the Big Three league, hasn't he? He was MVP of the finals, if I'm not mistaken, this year.
Was he?
Yeah, I think he was.
I think he was, yeah.
So anybody going to pick Rockets legend 2018 Joe Johnson, who I know has been tearing it up in the Big Three, man?
Nobody has picked Corey Brewer yet, dude. The culture guys are gonna be mad at that one.
All right, so we're in round 10. So just as a reminder, we're in our third to last round. So if you haven't picked the 2020s guy, or if you haven't done coaches, and we have to pick 2 coaches, so there's gonna be a lot of coaches getting picked soon. This is when you guys start doing it, because we only have 10 players, and then the last 2 are coaches, or 10 players and 2 coaches. Doesn't have to be the last.
Wait, you can pick coaches right now if you want.
So Brad's up.
Yep, Brad's up.
On me right now, I have a solid 9-man rotation. Who really goes 10 deep nowadays, you know? So we can go coach here. And crazy enough, I'll let one of y'all do it. I was going to say Rudy Tomjanovich and make a joke, because I don't think the player has been taken yet. No one's taken the player Rudy Tomjanovich yet. But I'll take the actually I'll be disrespectful, I guess. I'll take Jeff Van Gundy.
Okay, that's a good pick. I like Jeff.
No, great pick. All right, I'm going to follow up, and I was also going to go coach here, and I built my team around a playmaking perimeter player.
Do it, don't do it.
And that automatically
Steven Silas.
Mike D'Antoni.
That was who I was going to pick right here.
MDA is perfect. And MDA is perfect.
You ain't living to reunite Harden with MDA? No.
Oh, you have Harden. Sorry.
Yes, I got to reunite Harden with MDA.
I was hoping he'd fall.
Harden and Silas. Come on, man.
I'm gonna look with.
I will lie, bro. Well, nah, I'm trying to win, so I'm not. I guess I kind of have to go Rudy T. Yeah, I do.
The player, the coach.
Can I take does Kelvin Sampson count? I'm gonna take Rudy T here.
Okay, Rudy T, the coach. All right, Paolo, you're up.
Wow, my 2 coaches just taken right before. If I take Bickerstaff, I don't get Cleveland Bickerstaff, right? They get
right.
what we got.
No, you get Houston Bickerstaff.
Man, I wanted MDA there.
So I gotta take a coach. There's really not that many left, and I have no idea who any of these old dudes are. So I'm gonna take Rick Adelman.
Damn, that's a good one. Yeah, that's who I was hoping.
Very good coach. Very good
coach, offensively especially, ball movement. Like
you
the
picked Kevin Martin. He was his guy.
Yeah, that's actually a really good fit by accident. Yeah, but like Rick Adelman, he had those like late '90s, early 2000s Kings teams, which were sort of laying the groundwork for like the next generation of the game, like just stylistically, the ball movement, the shooting, that kind of stuff. And like bigs that could do a lot of different things. Like Weber and Divox were like one of the first versions of like 2 front court guys that could both like play make and pass, and weren't just like traditional like lob threat guys.
That would have been a good Şengün coach.
Yeah,
which means he would be a good team coach as well.
And Adelman coached that 22 game winning streak. He had both the 22 game winning streak in 08 and then that 09 team that if Yao didn't get hurt in the playoffs might very easily win it all. So yeah, let's say Rick Adelman's a really good call.
Yeah, just looking at the stat, he has a 59% win rate with the Rockets. He wasn't that good in the playoffs, just he was 9-10. But yeah, so I'm gonna take him. And since you've said that he is more of a offensive guy, and I have no idea who else I would take with another coach pick, I'm gonna take the guy whose name I cannot pronounce, the assistant with NDA, the defensive guy, Jeff
Bzdelik.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, I know I'm European. I cannot do that name. It's not.
He'll be your defensive coordinator.
He'll be my defensive coordinator, which means my last pick will actually be a player.
Oh, okay. It's back on me.
Yes.
Well, I think all the noteworthy coaches have been taken.
Silas is still out there for you, Will.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I really would, because I unironically think that Steven Silas might have did pretty solid with James Harden. But I'm trying to win, and if it says Steven Silas on a graphic on the TL, I'm gonna lose automatically. So there's no chance I'm gonna draft him. I'm actually not. Yeah, I'm gonna. Whoever falls to me is my last coach. Falls to me. Although I'm pretty sure this guy wasn't gonna get drafted anyways. I'm gonna take Josh Smith as my last player. From the 2014-15 season, and I looked it up. He shot 38% on 4 3-point attempts. That was my idea, is kind of getting somewhat of that athletic wing who can space the floor. And that, I believe that was the year we played. Yeah, that was the year we played the Clippers, and him and Corey Brewer went kind of insane.
So just like, you wanted March Jalen Green, you want fourth quarter game 6 versus the Clippers, Josh
Smith. Yeah, 2015. That's a good call.
Great call. All right, I'm up. So I was really hoping to pair up the 2018 coaching staff and get Bizdelic back next to MDA on my team here, but Paulo took that. So I'm going to go deep into the coaching history for another coach well known for defense, who's only here briefly, but Tom Thibodeau.
Wow, you sniped him from me. Wow.
This is Jeff Van
Defensive coordinator.
Wait, she was with the Rockets? I have no idea.
Yeah, on the Jeff Van Gundy staff.
Thibodeau handling the defense while MDA handles the offense.
That's really impressive. I just figured I was taking him 5 seconds before you said that. But you know what? I'll go with the. And I don't even know how good he was with the Rockets. People are gonna like me when they see it on the list. We're gonna go with Kevin Sampson.
Okay.
We'll go with Kevin Sampson.
Absolutely.
And let me see. I actually don't know the years.
It was early Harden tenure. I want to say like 2013, something like that.
Okay. Yeah, we'll go with him. Take it.
All right, so I'm going to fill out, and so these are my last 2 picks. I'm going to go way back, but I need a backup power forward. I'm going to back up power forward / well, actually, I'm debating this. Let me look up his size. I'm thinking about Rudy T, the player. Rudy T had some tremendous numbers. How big was he? Because even though Rudy was picked as a coach, I could pick him as a player, right?
Yeah, he was 6'8".
Yeah, 6'8", but I was looking for his bulk. Yeah, 6'8", 228. Yeah, I'm going to pick Rudy T and just trust that Ime can coach him up defensively. I thought about picking Chuck Hayes, different types of bigs, but yeah, Rudy T, I mean, early in his career, 4-time All-Star, 5-time All-Star, excuse me, and got as high in 74 as 17th in the MVP voting, averaged 24-9 per game, shot nearly 54% from the field. So yeah, I'm going to pick Rudy Tomjanovich, 74, to fill out my bench. Don't really have a true backup center, but again, I think my team's going to be playing a lot of small ball, sliding up. Moses, for his 36 minutes a night, and he was always crazy durable, can give you, the traditional center minutes. And then aside from that, we'll play a little smaller, a little more agile for those other minutes. I'm sure for our final 2 roster spots, which I'm not doing in this exercise, you could definitely bring in a token backup center in an A type if you wanted to, or Chuck Hayes, someone. Going to be some really good players that don't go drafted. So anyway, Rudy T, 74 as a player. That will wrap up round 11. And now we're doing round 12, which is the final, because we're each doing 10 players and 2 coaches. So I've got my coaches. Or no. I've got all my players. I need the second coach. I'm going to go off the beaten path on this because I think this guy would have good chemistry with Ime Udoka. I know I'm a little biased because we know what he's turned into since, but I'm going to say Chris Finch, who was on the staff of multiple coaches. He coached the Vipers from 09 through 11, then 11 through 16 was with the Rockets. He was very well regarded, guy who sort of saw where the NBA was going. I think he did have a good relationship with Harden in those years, pretty versatile, was a good guy, coached on both ends of the court. Same, age alignment with Ime. I know we can sort of play around with that if we want, but I'm going to say Chris Finch is my bench coach, second in charge to Ime.
That's a great pick.
All right, which means we're back on Brett.
And this is to wrap up.
Yeah, so I think this guy, he would be the only young player on the team surrounded with a bunch of older guys, a good coaching staff. So he's fitting well. Not a bad defender. He's surrounded by some defense, so also needed some shooting. I don't know if he's going to get picked in this draft, but I'll take him. I'll take Cameron Whitmore. I need some shooting or whatever it comes with.
Nice pick. I'm also going to go with for my backup shooting guard. I need some. I'm going to go with more shooting off the bench. A guy had a very short time with the Rockets at the end of his career, but he came in, shot 45% from three on decent volume in 2004-05. Son of the Hall of Famer John Barry.
There you go.
Lil Will was right there.
Good announcer too.
I thought it was gonna be Lou Will.
I thought he said
Stand behind the line and catch passes from T-Mac and Şengün and just drain threes. He doesn't have to run.
Okay. It is back on me, and I'm going to say throw caution to the wind when it comes to drama and locker room chemistry. I am going to say Kevin McHale here. He has the second highest win-loss percentage.
Fair.
As the coach. And
hey, you got to do the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, so I am going to take him. And he coached for was it 5 seasons? So I'm going to take him. Although I did find it funny that Stephen Silas was dead last.
All right, which means I got Mr. Irrelevant, right? I'm gonna take a pick here. I'm just wondering if I am allowed to take Steven Adams.
No,
No.
no.
Because there's the chemistry with Westbrook. But
You've got other
chemistry with Westbrook.
Bro, there's another center you need to take here if you're going big, bro.
I'm not. I refuse. I cannot give that to Andrew again. I'm never gonna hear out of it.
I'm not talking about Christian Wood.
I wasn't either.
No, there's
You
one.
are?
There's one.
Yeah, there's
very
another
recent-
pretty big center that you're missing.
Yeah, there's one.
Wait.
I mentioned his name a few minutes ago.
You mean the name?
Yeah,
We've given him enough hits.
Warren
I
McConnell.
know. And then it could work. I'm also wondering about Big Kelly Olynyk, but very different types of bigs. But I guess, I mean, I don't really need. And with my second unit, I've got, and yeah, I could mix and match West. I mean, I guess I could go Kelly Olynyk here, because I'm always gonna generate shots. Westbrook's gonna generate shots. Kevin Martin's gonna generate shots, although not to the same extent. And then the rest of them are role players. So I could go.
Do you want a stretch center?
I got Jabari for that if I want to go, or Robert Horry there if I want to go for something like that. Although they're not going to be good enough as defenders, but then neither is Kelly Olynyk. I guess in honor of my brother country Brazil and in honor of the NBA unprecedentedly screwing the Rockets with that contract back when they denied Daryl Morey his cap wizardry when Nene was, he played a certain amount of games the previous season, and so he gave him like $2 million guaranteed and then $8 million of likely incentives that counted towards the cap in a trade, but wouldn't if he didn't reach them and he didn't plan on playing them. I'll take Nene.
that will do it. All right, so we'll put this out on social media and people can judge as we wrap up. So I think each of us can sort of make our case for, not why we'd win, but just, who we'd start, how we'd play, just to sort of wrap up each of our teams. I'll start to give you guys a little bit of time to think. So my coaches were Ime Udoka and Chris Finch. I think both are pretty well-rounded. Definitely a defensive culture, which makes sense when you look at the guys that I drafted. Don't really have any true top shelf because I drafted 5th in the first round. I got the last pick, so I didn't get any of the, Hakeem Harden tier. That would be the clear engine, even like 05 or 07, I think is who Andrew picked, T-Mac. So I would start looking at the guys I have. Fred, Vernon Maxwell, Trevor Ariza, Charles Barkley, Moses Malone. Moses in 82 was an MVP. Barkley in 97 was an all-star. Moses would be, the rim protector, the rebounder, the force near the rim. Barkley would be sort of the primary offensive engine. Also, because I don't have a backup center, I try to, sort of stagger the minutes to where Barkley, even though he's undersized, he's obviously a bulky guy, rebounds at a high level. So Barkley sort of would function as a center in the minutes that Moses isn't on the floor. And then Fred, Maxwell, and don't laugh, Trevor Ariza in 2018, he did shoot 37% on threes at decent volume. Those are the shooters. And then off the bench, shooting and defense, Calvin Murphy, he was a Hall of Famer, but I'm going to use him off the bench because he's sort of a spark plug, and there's a question of how well his three-point shot translates. Kyle Lowry, Luke Bamute, Rudy Tomjanovich, Luke the defense, Rudy the offense, and then Gerald Green as sort of the shooter, the culture guy that can fit in a lot of constructs. And when you need some shooting, turn to Gerald. We know what he can do, fill it up in a heartbeat. So not the most sexy team, but a lot of really good players, a lot of culture, and I think Ime coaching defensively can get the best out of that group.
All right, I guess I'll go next. I'm starting Westbrook, Kevin Martin, Tariq, Robert Horry, and the Hakeem. I'm trusting Kevin. I was considering starting Dylan Brooks. I'm trusting Kevin Martin will be a better cutter. And if there's anything we've learned with Sengun is that with a post big, you need guys to be moving all the time. And so yeah, that's my starting five. I'm bringing John Lucas, Coutinho, Mobley, Dylan Brooks, Jabari Smith, and Nene off the bench against certain teams. I guess I always try to go for multiple strategies so you're not predictable in a playoff game. You can play 5 out with Hakeem as the hub if you need to. If for some reason Hakeem's injured or he doesn't have it going that night, you can play Westbrook with 5 out the same way D'Antoni used to do with Jabari at the 5. And I have Nene just in case we need to run some pick and roll. I know Hakeem wasn't really, used in that way, so I grabbed someone who we could use in the pick and roll as well. So we've got a lot of offensive versatility, a lot of different styles that we can play. And then I guess I like having Tari and Dylan as on-ball guys on defense. I think you have a team as an anchor, and you have on-ball defenders both for bigs and for guards and forwards. So yeah, I'm not gonna say I love the outcome of the team just because when I pick Westbrook, it's already going a bit sideways there. Just not my style of basketball, but I tried to make the best out of who was available. So I think we'd be pretty competitive in a playoff series due to the versatility of the schemes that we can run.
I'll go. Yeah. So my team is coached by we got Jeff Van Gundy and Calvin Sampson as an assistant. So defense heavy, going into a team that's already extremely talented defensively. You have Chris Paul in 2017-18, along with Sixth Man of the Year Eric Gordon. But defensively, man, you got Scottie Pippen, who was first team, Ron Artest, who we all know is a really good defender. Yao Ming, it's hard to score in a 7-6 guy. Min Thompson off your bench, tough to score in that guy. He might be a top 15 defender already in the NBA. Patrick Beverly is crazy, really good all-ball defender. And then you got Clay Capella as your backup big. To mix in some scoring, I brought in Scola off the bench. He's going to be a really good 6-man. Maybe not a 6-man, well, wherever he falls, he's scoring really well. And then I think if you pair Cam Whitmore in some minutes with Chris Paul, you get the best out of him when you prevent him from taking all that crazy shots that he takes. But I really like my team. I feel like defensively I have the best roster, and I feel like they fit together pretty well. I wish to add some more 3-and-D guys. I probably would have did better if I did Eason over Amin just for 3-and-D versatility, but Amin can fit in with anybody. If there is one flaw, it's probably shooting with my team towards the back end, but I like it.
All right, Will or Andrew? Who wants next?
You got it for Andrew.
All right. So I don't know that I planned this one, but when I'm looking at my roster, what I've created here is an upgraded version of 2016-17 Rockets with MDA as the coach and T-Mac as the offensive engine to orchestrate the entire offense and surrounding him with 40% three-point shooters all around with Kenny Smith, Shane Battier, Ryan Anderson, and John Barry, and running pick and roll with Ralph Sampson, who's also a versatile playmaker. If Anderson is falling back behind a defense, I'll move Battier to power forward and bring in Mario Ellie. So we have Battier and Ellie, you're not going to get a whole lot better defensive combination there. And they're both still 40% three-point shooters. To change it up, bring Alper and Sengun in to generate low post offense, and Jeremy Lin to run pick and roll with him. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with how mine turned out. I think it's actually T-Mac isn't as good as Harden, but overall it's a better team than the 2016-17 Rockets that we saw in reality.
I think we say the best team for last. Yeah, I got James at my one. You know what I'm saying? I had to get second greatest Rocket of all time. You played the 2 for us, but he's really a point guard anyway.
Right.
Right. So then I'm gonna pair him in the backcourt with Clyde. So I'm kind of trying to do like upgraded version of the 2017-2018 where it was like the Harden CP3 show, except instead of CP3, I have Clyde, and Harden's at the one this time. So I have a dynamic backcourt that kind of do anything with the ball in their hands. And then my goal was to surround them with as many 3-and-D wings as possible. So I got Rocco at the 3, took PJ Tucker at the 4, Elvin Hayes had a crazy rookie season. He's going to be my starting center. And then off my bench, it was kind of the same idea, was to get offensive punch and then surround that offensive punch with defense. So Steve Francis and Jalen Green as my offensive punch off the bench. And then Chandler Parsons and Josh Smith can space the floor, play some defense. Dwight Howard can anchor everything down in the paint. He was also still really good. This is the 2014 season, so he was also still really good that year. So like I said, the idea was just take a bunch of offensive guys, pair them up with guys who are really good at, playing a role, catching and shooting threes, playing defense, doing the dirty work that way, and then letting our offensive guys kind of take us home. And then we have Rudy T as our coach and Kevin McHale as our assistant coach. And I think in the modern NBA, I think this is a really good team.
All right, and then quickly, 2 last things. I'm going to ask for us all to pick one honorable mention, guy who wasn't picked, that if there was another round, you would have considered. And then the last thing we'll do is vote for someone's team other than our own that we'd pick to win, hypothetical playoff setting. I mean, I know it's 5 teams, but we can make it work. Somebody gets a bye. So who emerges at the end of a 5-team playoff featuring these teams? We'll start with the honorable mention. The one for me, I really wanted to pick 08 and 09 Dikembe Mutombo, who was a defensive anchor when Yao got hurt in both of those years. And so, in terms of rim protection, I thought about saying, hey, like, just pick Mutombo, and even if it's late career, he could only play, 20, 25 minutes per game by that point. He'd be a little bit limited. But yeah, Moses and Mutombo, you'd lock off the paint. I said, you know what? With the way the game is played now, go small ball with Chuck at the 5 in the non-Moses minutes and go for, additional shooting. But yeah, Mutombo's the guy that stood out as, a big part of Rockets history that I wanted to draft, but there's just so many bigs that it's really tough to.
I'll go and say, I can't believe he wasn't picked. But Aaron Brooks, man. Aaron Brooks was.
I thought about him. Yeah.
He's spectacular.
A fill it up guy. Yeah.
Did he win 6 man with Rockets? He did, right?
I think he came close if he didn't. Yeah. But yeah, they had some really good guards in those years. Like I picked Lowry, but Brooks, you could go Goran Dragic had a couple of good years here. Yeah, like those 2010 to 2012, those in between the McGrady Yao / Harden years. Yeah, they had some nice players.
Yeah, and before I pass it off, my other honorable mention, and he did win most improved player that year. He had 19.6 points a game and 5.3 assists. But the other honorable mention would be a 3-and-D guy, Francisco Garcia. But I'll pass it.
I'm not sure. Did Chuck Hayes get picked?
No, he didn't. I thought about it. Yeah.
All right. He probably doesn't deserve to be, but as a fan favorite guy you'd love to have around, you can't go wrong with the Chuck wagon.
I'll go. Paulo, did I take your spot?
No. You go.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna stick with the trend that Brad said. I'm gonna take a serious pick and then not so serious pick. The serious pick, I would have took Corey Brewer if I had another one, so I could have Corey Brewer and Josh Smith on my bench, like have that little tandem. We know what they did for the team in the playoffs against the Clippers. But then the not so serious pick, man, go ahead and give me Mr. 2010 Christian Wood, man.
There I go.
That would be the pick there.
Yeah, so I also have an unserious and a serious pick. The unserious pick is, 16, 4 and 5 with 2 steals and a block a game, 49, 33, 1,000 splits. Gary Thomas, dude. I've never seen a guy.
God.
I've never seen a guy finish his NBA career averaging 16 points a game on a lit efficiency and not get a shot anywhere else.
Pretty solid defensively too.
I mean, he had those 5 games where I even want to check the game log because this was he had a 27-point game. He was really good for those 5 games when everybody had COVID and we were running 10-day contracts. But my serious pick would be Jeff Green. I guess
really, your unserious pick should have been
Steven Silas,
Westbrook's best friend,
Ray Spalding.
Oh,
Ray Spalding.
Oh no. I was so sad. No, if for the people who know me or who may listen to this podcast that knew me back in my Reddit days, my unserious pick would have been Chris Clemens.
That's why I thought you was gonna take what's my man name from the Vipers. He won the MVP for them, bro.
Hartenstein?
No.
Oh, Hermione Brooks.
No, not Armand.
Prevalent Queen.
Prevalent Queen.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
How
boy.
no.
That's what I thought you was gonna take.
All right, we got to wrap it up now.
Yeah, I guess I'll pick the team that I would pick to win without my own. Actually, I'd be between two picks, between two teams. I would be between Will's and Andrews. Will's just has the sheer star power, and he has a really good balance of star power at the guard position and star power at the bigs. But because of balance and because we've seen that having the most amount of shot creating talent together doesn't necessarily mean the better team, I'm actually going to go with Andrew's team. I think there's even scenarios where you can play Alperen Sengun and Ralph Sampson together. I think Ralph Sampson was a really mobile big for his size, and he could shore up the rim protection that Alperen Sengun lacked. I think if Ralph Sampson, and we talk about guys that had the same or similar builds to Ralph Sampson as good complements to Sengun throughout the last few drafts. So I think that would make sense. And then I really love the 3-and-D wings. You guys know I have a soft spot for them, and I like the coaching tandem with the really offensive minded guy and the really defensive minded guy with him. So I'll go with Anderson.
I'll go next. I'll take. This is a little bit outside the box. My inclination was to take Andrew, but then I second guessed myself because it feels like what Andrew did is almost cheating in that Andrew has so many guys that are the ultimate like what ifs when we talk about like Tracy McGrady, Ralph Sampson, can they stay healthy? Kenny Smith, the one year he had the super inflated 3-point range. Like Andrew had the mega efficient draft. And so I think, on paper, he'll win the social media vote, I suspect. And I think you also like Mike D'Antoni as a coach for Tracy McGrady too. Like D'Antoni's the kind of coach they could bring out like more playmaking in a way that, Jeff Van Gundy couldn't. But I really like, especially when you look at the coach and how it all fits together, I'm going to go with Brad's team. I think the pairing of Chris Paul, Eric Gordon, Ron Artest, like those are three dogs on the perimeter. You've got Yao Ming, who at its best was a beast of a scorer inside. Rudy Tomjanovich is the perfect coach. I know we talked about putting Rudy with Akeem, but Rudy with Yao Ming is a pretty close, second. Obviously, Rudy did coach Yao Ming his first couple of years in the league, but in terms of having a dominant big man, spacing the floor for him, that kind of thing, I think there's a good marriage of, coach and offensive engine. I don't know if you have the star perimeter player that, like the 2018 Rockets had Chris and James. There's not really the James, but I don't think you necessarily need a star scorer when you have that many dogs defensively. You've got Yao to score. And then I really like that that Clint Capella as a contrast, because the one question with Yao is, there's some matchups where it might be difficult for him to defend. Okay, well, if he's too big for certain matchups, well, you can insert, Capella and lean into that switchability angle a little bit more. So I think, all the teams are pretty close, but I think I sort of like the mix of players and the Yao-Rudy dynamic, so I'm going to go with Brad.
Really quick, Ben, would it change your mind if I don't have Rudy T? Because I actually have Jeff Van Gundy. So,
oh, do you? Who has? Oh, shoot. Who ended up with Rudy?
Will.
Oh, Will has Rudy. Oof.
Does that change your mind? Yeah.
Who was your other coach? Kelvin?
Kelvin, yeah.
Yeah, somehow, sorry, man. Should have cut me off earlier. I was waxing poetically about that. No, I'm going back and forth between, like, because I have all the rounds, and so I'm scrolling up, and I got confused who was who. I'll stick with it, because honestly, like, Jeff and Kelvin are pretty good coaches for, like, Chris, E.G., Ron Artest, like, those all have pretty complementary skill sets, and they're all, like, bulldogs defensively. So it's a different style, and, Jeff did coach Yao and got the best out of him. So even if it's not quite as good as Rudy, I'll stick with it. And Kelvin's pretty modern, so yeah, I'll stick with Brad. Sorry.
That's love. Cool. All right. Yeah, outside of my team, I will go with. I will say this. I really like what Andrew did. Andrew's team is really solid. Good shooting. Moses Malone MVP. Charles Barkley underrated in Houston.
Well, that's my team, not Andrew's.
Oh my!
I've got Ralph Sampson.
My fault. I meant to say. I was going with both of y'all's teams. I started. Yeah, but Ben's team I like a lot. He did a really good job as I described, and I like the bench. It's defensive minded. Can shoot the three. I don't know. Much love to Calvin Sampson. Actually, I'm not even gonna say that. Calvin, a Hall of Famer. So solid team. And
Calvin Murphy. Yeah.
Mba Mute, really good in that season as well. And then I'll go look at Andrew's team. Again, that's a really efficient squad. McGrady would look good with NBA, as someone else said. The one pick I wouldn't have made was I probably would have went Aaron Brooks over Jeremy Lin, but I really like this team as a whole. It looks really good, especially the Thibodeau pick was really solid roster.
So who's your pick though, Brad? What did you say?
He picked everybody. He's
you know what? I didn't pick one, did I? I'll go with Andrew, man. Andrew's team himself.
Yeah.
Oh, and LP, I forgot to mention LP.
No one even brought up
hater.
Automatic tiebreaker.
That's my guy.
I'll be quick. I am gonna go the co-host. I do think that I like that he stuck with like a theme of the kind of players, right? He went with like the best kind of defenders he could get at each of his positions. And then he paired all those elite defenders with, I think, two really good defensive-minded coaches. And so I think that combination would come in second place to my team. But it's obviously a really good team now. So I'll shout out co-host.
Appreciate you.
All right, so I'll wrap it up. So that's 2 votes for me, 1 for Brad, and 1 for Ben. Is that it?
Brad got 2, I think.
Right. Oh, so it's 2 and 2. All right, so we're tied. I'm not going to vote for that, so I can't vote for Brad then.
Oh, that's crazy.
You won't make your own team lose. Yeah.
I shouldn't have run over here.
No, it's all good. But honestly, I'm gonna go with a little off the board. I'm gonna go with the best player in Rockets history and say he's gonna pull his team through, and go with Paolo's team with Hakeem Olajuwon.
Yeah,
Can't
that's
go
sort of
wrong.
the ultimate like cheat code is that you get peak Hakeem and you can figure it out. Peak Hakeem and Russell Westbrook. That's the duo.
Listen, ideally, I get pick 2. Will takes Harden first. We get the quick wait on the title. I get Hakeem second, and I get Clyde Drexler on the way back before he does.
You know, and
Should have
the
written
playoff
this
series is usually won by the team who has the best player, and Paolo has the best player. Although I do think I do have the most well-rounded overall team.
Well, that will pretty much do it. Actually, bonus. We've gone on long enough, so anyone listening at this point is a diehard. So 60 seconds or less for each of us, unrelated to the draft. Training camp is in a month. Season is 2 months away. One player or storyline that you think is undervalued right now within the Rockets fan community. This is a fan episode, so what's something that people should be talking more about that they aren't? I'll go first because you probably noticed I've been pushing this a little bit, but I don't think the average fan, especially because of the guys who were drafted near him, realizes just how close Jabari Smith Jr. is to a real breakout. I know his first couple of years, he was sort of in the shadows of Chet and Paolo. I think some of that's to be expected. I mean, Jabari inherited a bad situation in Houston. He's also the youngest guy in his draft class. But you look at year 2, 13-8, 36.5% from 3. Just bump up those counting stats a little bit. Get to, say, 16-10, shooting 38% from 3. Switchable, can guard basically anybody. Remains to be seen. Is he a 4? Is he a 5? What exactly is his long-term future? But if he just bumps up those counting stats a little bit, I don't think people realize just how close Jabari is. And again, one of the youngest guys on the team still, even year 3. He's just, turned 21 in May, I think. I don't think people realize just how close Jabari Smith Jr. is to being talked about around the league as early as next offseason being a max level player. So I think this is going to be a Jabari breakthrough year. I think that's the one storyline. People are focusing on Şengün and Jalen because of the contracts. And, Tari, he's coming back from injury, year 2 of men. I think Jabari is going to be the guy who makes the biggest leap this year. So that's my big storyline.
I want to go second because Brad took my guy the first time, so I'm gonna make sure I take him here. Mine is gonna be Amen. That's my guy on the team. I think that I don't think we properly appreciate how good he was, like that last third of the season.
Yeah.
Especially after he got inserted into the starting lineup. Well, when Şengün went down with injury, I think that Brad said early in the show he thinks he's a top 15 defender. I'd argue he's top 10. I think he is the best defender on the roster right now. I think he's insanely good with the second jump. So that's, getting his own misses or getting somebody else's misses, grabbing the ball, defensively pushing in transition. I think he's also really underrated as a cutter as well. I think he just does a lot of the little things that don't necessarily show up on the box score that impact winning. But just like when you watch him play, it's like no matter whether it's offense, defense, when he's on the court, he's usually doing something that you're like, it may not show up in the box.
Yeah.
Like, it was a winning play. And so the biggest question marks with him are obviously the handle and the jump shot. But I've been saying it all summer. I do believe in his work ethic. I do believe and what people say about him in terms of how serious he takes the game of basketball, how much he loves basketball. Not that this is like evidence that he's just he has this legendary work ethic above everybody else, but the fact that like Amin is like an NBA nerd. Like you could ask Amin a question about the 2009 NBA draft, and he can probably answer a question about it. Like he's an NBA nerd. To me, that tells me he really loves the sport. He really loves basketball. And so for me, it's like I know that those weaknesses that he has, obviously are pretty big weaknesses, but we know he's working on them. And so yeah, I kind of put out there that I think at the end of last season, I thought he was, playing at the level of the second best player in his draft class behind Wemby. And so, yeah, that would be my pick for people, I guess, we're talking about it.
And I would also add that I think the offseason, gave the Rockets the ability to hedge on some of his weaknesses, most notably the handle, because when you draft Reed Shepherd and you bring back Aaron Holiday, if the handle still needs another year or so of work before he's a full-blown point guard, then that's okay. He doesn't have to be a full-blown point guard on this team. He can still make an impact in something of the off-ball role that he flourished in the second half of last season. So that's the other thing. If they hadn't brought back Aaron, if they hadn't drafted Reed Shepherd, then yeah, there'd be the question of, well, are you relying on him too much or are you assuming too much with the handle? But the way this team is built, even if the handle isn't quite there yet, then, you do have some insurance that can sort of play to his strengths now, which we know what his strengths are, and sort of gradually build up those weaknesses over time. All right. Who wants to go third?
I'll go. And it's not a specific player, but it's just a team stat I want to throw out. I think the Rockets will be top 5 in the NBA this year in rebounding, probably lead the league off the rebounding. Just looking at Amin Thompson, 99th percentile offensive rebounder in his position. Same with Steven Adams, probably one of the best offensive rebounders of all time. I don't even know how many minutes he's going to be playing, but he gets everything that comes in this direction. Then Tariq, and we know how he is. That's going to be really fun. The Rockets, have struggled, rebounding in the past, so they have 3 guys who are elite at offensive rebounding. So we're going to get a ton of second points this year.
I think that's a great one, Brad, and fully agree. I'll jump in next and try to heal the rifts in Rockets Twitter and say what we should be talking about and we're going to see next year is the full growth and implementation we're hoping for the last 3 years of the Alperen Sengun, Jalen Green 2-man game. Never really seen it fully take off. First, that was one of my frustrations last season. We just didn't see it enough. And I'm really hoping and looking forward to the two of them really meshing their games together at a peak level. And if we do that, that's going to really drive the Rockets offense to a level we haven't seen since the Harden era. So that's what I'm looking out for, is seeing how Ime Udoka gets those two guys really meshed together full time.
Yeah, and I think, to add on to that very quickly, I think it's important to note that Green's uptick did start before the Sengun injury. I think, playing with Amin more, I talked about that on Jackson Gatlin's show, Locked On Rockets, earlier this week. Playing Jalen with another top shelf athlete, someone like Amin, Cam, or Tari, I think that helps him so the defenses can't load up on him, but also just generally playing at a faster pace. We know that was how they changed the offense at the All-Star break, came back playing super fast, shooting a ton of threes. Early in the year, they were artificially slow, everything about, Fred and LP, because they just wanted to limit the turnovers, execute in the half court. That doesn't play to Jalen's skill set. It's worth noting that, really ever since the All-Star break, they were a better team. It's just those first few games out of the All-Star break were insanely difficult on the road, and it took until March, schedule evened up, for them to start getting the wins. But those wins were coming before Sengun went out. So yeah, that's the case for optimism, that some of this stuff isn't just about Jalen finding it when Sengun wasn't out there, but that they were finding better ways to use Jalen even when Sengun was out there. Paolo, you want to wrap up?
Yeah, I was gonna go with my usual Tariq talking point, because I still think that people talk about everybody else other than Tari when it comes to the next season. I think he will be the biggest difference from last year to this year. Not how much better he is, but how available he is and how impactful he is. But since you said that people were talking about Tariq, I guess I'll change it to, maybe my timeline isn't as up to date or as in touch as it used to be, but I haven't seen enough people talk about the fact that Tim McMahon mentioned that he thinks that Reed Shepherd will be on the floor and have a significant role off the bench. On our previous pods, for people who listen, I talked about how I thought that he wasn't going to play, that there was very little chance that he was going to play, if not for the rookie season, for the complete rookie season, for the beginning of it, until injury struck, because there's just so many guys that need to play. Tim McMahon's a pretty informed guy, and if he says that he expects him to play, I think maybe that's a hint that the Rockets are a little bit higher on his impact from day one than most people would be for a rookie, especially when he's easily the easier guy to send to the G League compared to the other guys that have to be in the rotation. You can't send any of the vets, obviously. And Kem Whitmore was already there last season, was too good for it, came into the NBA and was good in the NBA as well. So he's tough to demote. So I wonder how they'll make it work, but I thought that was a really interesting quote.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, we've gone long enough, so we will wrap it there. I want to thank all of our guests today for taking the time, nearly 2 hours in total. But boy, when you're going through the past, present, and now future of Houston Rockets basketball, there's a lot to talk about. And again, this is, it's a good episode for the dead period of the year because obviously we're just doing this for fun, but also we hope it'll spark some discussion on social media. So Paolo he'll edit this episode the next couple of days. We'll get it out for the end of the month, but also we'll put together a graphic that we can put on the Logger Line on Twitter, and people can vote. Let us know where the right picks were made, where the terrible picks were made. Let us know that we're haters for not drafting Şengün in the first round and not drafting Christian Wood at all. Icons of the 2020s Rockets. I kid. Anyway, just let us know what you think. And again, we'll be back. We will not have no shows until training camp in late September, early October. We've got some other things on the horizon too. It'll just be a little bit different over the next month since we hope it's a relatively quiet time. Again, it wasn't a year ago, but that's because of the terrible situation involving KPJ. Hopefully there's nothing like that this year. And so we're all going through a relatively quiet period where we can all sort of take some time, players and coaches included, to ourselves, our families, all that good stuff before really ramping up with NBA season starting in late September, early October. All right, that will do it for tonight. So until that next show, if you want more from us, the best place to always get it is online. We're mentioned leading off the show, but to wrap up, I'm on Twitter/X at Ben Dubose, Paolo on Paolo Alves NBA, and then our guest, Andrew Sukup at Sukup TX, ASOUKUPTX, Brad on there at Brido NBA, Will on there at Bias Houston. That's where you can interact with us directly. Follow us if you are not already. And then the show, The Logger Line, if you go to Logger Line on Twitter/X, obviously you can follow, but you can also hit up our link tree, which has links to distribution partners, Apple, Google, Spotify. If you'd be kind enough to subscribe, leave a positive review at your location of choice. Of course, we'd appreciate that. And also on that same link tree, you can find links to our friends, sponsors, and partners of the program, USA Today's Rockets Wire, Carbach Brewing, Sports Talk 790. Hit up those links and you can enjoy their content as well. All right, with those plugs complete, we will adjourn for today. For Paolo, Brad, Will, and Andrew, I'm Ben. Thanks as always for listening, and please come back soon for another new episode of The Logger Line.